Okay, this is a video by Brad Walker, who is one of the world's top experts on stretching.
Stretching. And he's got an excellent first name.
Right. Watch and learn.
Bob and Brad, the two most famous physical therapists on the internet.
Hi everyone. This is a really good question because I often get asked, as I get older, I'm getting a little bit stiffer and tighter, and I want to start doing some stretching and flexibility training so that I can keep my mobility and be able to move around as I get older. And I'm often asked, is it different for me as an older person? How should I approach my stretching? Should I be doing different things to the way everybody else is doing their flexibility training? And the short answer is no. You should be doing your flexibility training, or you can improve your flexibility in exactly the same way as anybody else wanting to improve their flexibility can. So the procedure is the same regardless of age. However, there are a few precautions that we need to be aware of when you are doing your stretching. So firstly, make sure that you start off a little slower and a little easier than you normally would. I mean, myself personally, I'm 51 now, and I know that I can't start off my exercise the same way I used to when I was in my teens and early 20s. When I go for a run now, I usually take the first mile or two just to warm up a little bit. I typically walk for a little while, jog for a little while, walk, jog. I'll have a little stretch, and then I'll get into my running. Whereas when I was younger, I used to just walk out the door and straight into a run. So there are some precautions we need to take when we do get a little bit older. So firstly, just start off a little slower and a little easier with your stretching. Don't try and push it too hard. We need to ease into it. We need to give your body time to adapt to the new exercise. So stretching is just like any other type of exercise. If you haven't done it before, you do need to give your body time to adapt to stretching, adapt to the process of lengthening those muscles, and it will take a little bit of time for your body to adapt to that and get used to it. So secondly, just be patient with it, and know that it's probably going to take a little bit more time to see results than someone who's in their 20s or 30s. So next thing we need to take into consideration is you, the individual. We need to look at you, and we need to look at your specific circumstances. So what is your current fitness level? Are you an active sports person, or are you more a sedentary type person? So if you're active and if you're already quite fit and healthy, then you'll probably find that your flexibility improves quite quickly. If you haven't done any exercise for a while, or if you generally lead a fairly sedentary lifestyle, then it may take you a little bit longer to see results. We also want to look for things like, do you have tight muscles or imbalances anywhere? Do you have any aches or pains or injuries? And we really need to take these into consideration when starting your stretching. If you do have some injuries, it's really important that you avoid stretching those injuries, especially in the early stages of an injury. So that's typically called the acute phase of an injury. It usually lasts for about 48 to 72 hours after the injury occurred, and there's usually a lot of swelling and inflammation and pain around the injury site. So if that's you, if you have a recent injury, then you really want to avoid any sort of stretching at that injury point. So once you've taken those things into consideration, and you've made sure that you don't have any injuries anywhere, and that you haven't got any aches or pains that you need to be concerned about, then there's a few rules or guidelines that you can use when doing your stretching. So firstly, we want to do some sort of warm-up before we start our stretching. Now, it doesn't have to be a comprehensive warm-up. You don't have to go outside and run around the block. Simply just some marching on the spot, maybe a little bit of jogging on the spot or skipping. That'll help to increase the blood flow, get the heart rate up, get the blood pumping around the body, and get those muscles warmed up. So it's really important that you do some sort of warm up before you start your stretching. The next thing you want to be looking at is the type of stretching you're doing. So if your goal is to improve flexibility, then you want to be doing long hold static stretching. Now, static stretching is the type of stretching where you get into the stretch position and then you hold that position for a minimum of 30 seconds. So that's going to allow your muscle groups to relax. They're going to allow them to loosen up and lengthen and get the full benefit from the stretching. So long hold, at least 30 seconds, and if you can push that up to around a minute, all the better. Long hold static stretching. Now, a really common mistake I see people make is trying to stretch too hard. So stretching, the best way to get the most out of stretching is to do it gently and slowly. And we don't want to push the stretching too hard. Stretching is almost the opposite of a lot of other exercises. So if you're a runner or you ride your bike or you do swimming and you want to get better, you want to push yourself harder and harder. Or if you're doing strength training in the gym and you want to get stronger, you need to push those weights harder and harder. Well, stretching is almost the opposite to that. The more gentle you do it, the more relaxed you are when you do it, the easier you do it, the more benefit you're going to get. So I like to use a tension scale ranging from 0 to 10, where 0 is no stretch and 10 is quite painful. So we never ever want to get to a painful stretch. If you ever find yourself in pain, then you need to back the stretch off. So as a guideline, I typically recommend that you only get to say a 3 or 4 out of 10 in tension for the smaller muscle groups. So those includes things like your neck, the small muscles within your shoulders, the muscles around your wrists and hands. You want to keep the tension very, very low on those muscle groups. Now, when it comes to some of the larger muscle groups like your hips, your back, your quads, those big muscles around your legs and so forth, you can push the intensity a little bit higher, but again, don't go anywhere past, say, a 6 or 7 out of 10 in tension. So another big mistake I see people making when they are doing their stretching is that they're holding their breath. So it's really important that when you are doing your stretching, you're doing it gently, slowly, you're relaxing and you're breathing deeply while you're doing your stretching. That'll help you relax and help you to get more benefit out of your stretching. It's also important to mix up the stretches that you do. Don't do the same stretches over and over again. So same as if you were going to the gym, you wouldn't do the same stretch over and over again every day you went to the gym. You'd mix it up with lots of different stretches. Maybe one day you'd focus on the upper body, another day you'd focus on the lower body, and you can take the same principle into your stretching. You don't have to stretch every muscle in your body. It's much better if you just pick 2 or 3 stretches and concentrate on those for your stretching session, and then pick a different 2 or 3 next time you stretch. So another great tip for improving flexibility at any age is do most of your stretching either after exercise or at night before you go to bed. So at night is really the best time to improve your flexibility. If you can spend 10 or 15 minutes doing some stretches before you go to bed, that will really improve your flexibility the most. That works on a neuromuscular level. It's the last thing your body or your nervous system remembers before going to sleep. And also your body does most of its healing while you're sleeping. So your body is actually healing in that elongated state. So stretching before you go to bed is a really good idea. It also helps you relax and get a better sleep as well. So it's a win-win. Now, just a couple of other things I want to suggest as far as your stretching goes. Take care of things like your hydration and your nutrition. Your hydration level is really important for your flexibility. So the more hydrated you are, the more water you drink, the more easier it is for your muscles to lengthen and loosen up. Make sure your nutrition is good. You want to be eating lots of whole foods, lots of fruits, vegetables, good whole foods. that will help not only with your general fitness, but it'll also help with your stretching and flexibility. And lastly, sleep too. Don't underestimate how important sleep is to your health, to your well-being, to your fitness, and to your flexibility. So there's some things to help with your stretching and flexibility. And just remember, stretching is a long-term approach. You can't, do some stretches tonight and end up super flexible tomorrow. So if you were starting to work out at the gym, you would expect that it's going to take a little while to see some results. And stretching is exactly the same. Stretching is just like any other type of exercise. So stick with it for the long term. You will see results from it. Make sure you stick with some of those guidelines and do's and don'ts that I outlined before, and you'll see a great improvement in your flexibility. Okay, everyone, thanks for listening. This has been Brad Walker from stretchcoach.com. I've got a whole heap of resources on my website that are available to you guys all for free. I have hundreds of articles. I have hundreds of videos. I have stretches for every sport you can think of. I have stretches for all the different muscle groups. I have stretches if you're suffering with injuries. I can teach you how to incorporate your stretching properly to help you improve those injuries. And that's all available to you for free. So head on over to my website at stretchcoach.com. Have a look around. Use the search feature to look for whatever you're looking for, and I'm sure you'll find plenty of useful information there. Bye for now.